Ooh, today's movie is a war movie, guys. Aerial combat, devotion. Oh, can't wait to see this one. Avatar: The Way of Water. And of course, the movie I want to see is at the very end. All the history buffs are isolated from the rest of the theater. Look at that, no one stayed for the credits, guys. Just got out of the theater. I will review this movie in my car. And look what I got, Puss in Boot crayons. Alright guys, it's that time of the video where I do a review from the parking lot. That's right, this is a parking lot movie review. Just because I have nowhere else to film this. Anyways, I just finished this movie and my thoughts immediately are, this is a great war movie. Not in terms of combat, but in terms of its depiction of war. You know, war isn't just, you know, non-stop combat. There's a lot of, you know, waiting around doing mundane things. You see them taking shore leave. You see them training. And that's great. The way this movie did this, it was fantastic. This was not a glorified war movie. But there's a lot of melodramatic moments. But in this case, I actually liked every bit of this movie. And this is based on a true story, one that I didn't know about. And I'm glad this movie was made because I would never have known about this had I never seen this movie. I think if you're a fan of war movies, aviation history, and I guess just, you know, a touching movie in general, I think this is a pretty good movie to watch. I won't spoil anything for you guys, but it does have some pretty melodramatic moments, but I think this movie did it very well, every bit of this. That said, I can't believe this movie was made, because I'm not sure who this movie was made for, to be honest. As much as I love this movie, this does not have the same, you know, widespread, broad appeal as, say, Top Gun Maverick. This is not a fun aviation movie. This is more of a realistic look at a real person who did exist. Jonathan Majors and also Glen Powell. Glen Powell played the really cocky, arrogant guy from Top Gun Maverick. You know who I'm talking about. And it was kind of funny seeing him in another pilot role, because it felt like he stepped right off the set of Maverick and onto the set of Devotion. But don't worry, he was not the same exact character. He had a different personality and different character, but his face was exactly the same from Top Gun Maverick. The aviation scenes were great. The combat scenes were great, but this was not non-stop combat. This showed everything from, you know, from shore leave to training to briefings and debriefings. I loved everything about this movie, even the melodramatic moments. Usually I don't like those kind of things, but in this movie they did it really well. It never felt too much. Really, really nice, steady shots of the Corsair. I'm not sure if it was a love letter to the Corsair as much as it was a hate letter to the Corsair. I don't think they really liked it that much. I mean, they did, obviously, with all these great, you know, shots of the airplane. But it did not glorify this plane at all. Yeah, in general, I love this movie. In the theater, there was only like, what, 3 different groups, maybe 6, 8 people all together. There was a bunch of old retirees watching the movie, and then there was me, a history nerd. So I'm not really sure who's going to watch this movie. They don't make movies like this anymore, but they used to. This is just a straight up war movie without the broad appeal of Top Gun Maverick. So I hope this movie does well. I don't think it will, though, because it seemed to have a pretty big budget and some pretty big names, but I don't think it's going to make its money back. But I think it should. This movie was great. I think they should make more movies like this. It felt realistic to me. So those are my thoughts on this movie. I recommend it. If you're a history buff, please watch this movie. Give money to this movie production. They deserve money. And it's not going to bring people to the theaters like a Marvel movie will. But that's it, guys. These are my thoughts from the parking lot.